Hello everyone and welcome to the VI lesson from Pentester University. So today we're going to discuss what VI actually is. And the reason why we're doing this is I probably get about 20 or so emails a week from students and users asking me how to use VI. And again, that's probably because you guys see me use it a lot in our videos, and I thought it was about time that we make a actual lesson on how to use VI. So now, what is VI? VI is short for Visual Instrument, and it's a simple but powerful command line or terminal-based text editor. Now, the pros to this is it's allows for speed of editing text files because, let's face it, most of our work is done from a terminal. And while we're in terminal, it's easier to use VI to edit a configuration file or create a new text file or something to that effect. On the other side of it, if you wanted to use a GUI method, you would have to open up your file manager, then navigate out to where the file, configuration file, text file, whatever is. Then you'd have to open it in, say, something like LeafPad or whatever GUI text editor you're using. And then you'd have to make your changes and then save it and then get out of everything else. So you can see that it takes a lot more time to actually do that as opposed to using VI. So for us, VI is basically the equivalent to Notepad in Windows. It's a very simple text editor that you can make changes to a file quickly and save them. So let's get started with showing you how to use VI. And in this lesson, we're going to go through your basic write and quit functions. We're going to show you how to create an actual document, and we're going to show you how to navigate around the document, and then I'm going to show you how to set some features, turn them on and off. I'm going to show you how to find text, do a search inside of that. Then we're going to show you how to do the search and then replace feature. And then I'm also going to show you how to delete certain characters or certain lines. So let's get started here. So let's just say we wanted to go ahead and create a new document called test.txt. So simply it would be VI, oops, make sure I'm in the terminal here, VI test.txt. Now you don't have to name a file extension at the end here. You can just make a test. I put the file extensions because I want to quickly, at a quick glance, know it's a text document, it's a configuration file, it's a bash script, it's whatever. So just go ahead and hit enter then. And now that brings us into a document. It's a new file, and all of your commands and what you're currently doing here is shown at the bottom left of your terminal screen. So you can see test.txt, it's a new file. But we haven't actually done anything to this. Right now it's in memory. It's not an actual file we've created. It's not written to disk yet. So let's talk about inserting some text. Simply, it is the I key, and that's it. No colon, no nothing, just I. And you can see that towards the bottom left here, it changed to insert. So now we're in insert mode. This is your command mode on the bottom left. And let's just put in some text here. So this, whoops, is a test document. And if you hit enter, you can go on down and then put in some more text. So text, test, text, test, text. Now, let's say we want to save our changes to this file. And very simply, you have to, anytime you're in a mode, a command mode, you have to hit escape to get out of that command mode. It's very important, otherwise you're just going to keep adding characters here. So hit the escape key, and you can see that the bottom left changed to nothing. And you can see that our cursor went back one. Now, to write your changes to disk and actually create the file for this matter, or if you were in an existing file to save the changes to this file, you type in :W and hit enter, lowercase w always. So now you can see it says test.txt, new file, and all the good stuff down here. So let's want to go ahead and quit our file. So it's again :Q, lowercase q for quit. We're done editing. Now let's say we're doing some tasks and we want to go back in and make some changes to this file. So again, simply it's VI test.txt and hit enter. And now we're back into this file. So I'm going to show you some navigation here. So simply to move up and down, you can use your arrow keys here. And down would be the down arrow key, of course, and of course up would be the up arrow key. Left and right arrow keys here. So let's go ahead and show some appending. So if you wanted to append some text to a line or to the document itself, there's two ways of doing it. Again, you can hit the I for insert, and I'll show you how to do that here. So we arrow all the way down to the end because we want to insert it after the line or after the sentence. This is a test document. And you can type in insert, and now you can do spaces, and you can type in test append, and that's that. Now, if you want to backspace, of course, if you spelled something wrong, which I do sometimes, just go ahead and hit the backspace key, and you can certainly go ahead and do that while you're in insert mode. So again, we hit escape to get out of that, and we can write our changes to disk. And we're not going to go ahead and quit the document this time. This time, I want to say, you know, I meant to say test append test again, and I really need to append to this line. So again, instead of hitting insert or I for insert, you can do A for append, and it will actually bring you into insert mode. It's virtually the same thing, but it automatically, you know, makes the space at the end for you here. So I just want to add in test, and then again hit escape to get out of insert mode. Now, let's say I wanted to delete one character here. Let's say I meant to say text and not test. So I would bring my cursor in front of the letter that I wanted to change. Whoops. Let me go back up here. So if I want to change the S to an X, I would bring my cursor with the arrow keys in front of or to the left of the character that I want to change. You type the letter R and then the letter you want to replace it with, X. So you can see now that that was a quick character replacement. So now it reads text. So of course, just by habit, I always hit the escape button after I do any kind of command or any kind of edit, just because I don't want to like accidentally mess up and start typing in characters. So this is helpful when you're writing code or changing configuration files, because you could really get yourself in some mess there if that was the case. So it's a good habit to always hit escape, even a couple of times. So now let's say if we wanted to delete an entire line of text. Let's say we wanted to get rid of the sentence that says test text. So we would arrow down there to that and hit the D key twice, and that deletes the whole entire line. Now that can be kind of dangerous because you want to make sure that you're deleting the right line. So you have to be, your cursor has to be on that line that you're looking to delete. And for instance, if we were looking to delete some spaces here, you notice that we have some lines. If we arrowed up there, we got 2 blank lines. So let's say we want to take those out. Again, double D once, double D twice, and now we just have the one line at the very top. So let me go ahead and append to this. I'm going to make some new lines here, and I'm going to type in just some random stuff here. Test, text, text, test, and then read this, and then I'm going to create a new line without a space, and I'm going to put this needs to be read, and in a period, and hit my escape key. So let's say that we want to find out if you're editing code and or configuration files, it's helpful to know if you're getting like an error. It says, you know, line 22, for instance, is, you know, has a syntax error or something to that effect. It's very simple to turn on the line numbers here, much the same as if you used other text editors like Notepad++ that has that functionality built into it automatically. Simply, you type in the colon, remember the command option that tells VI that we're looking to enter in a command, and type in set number with a space between set and number, and hit enter. And now you can see that you have numbers appeared in yellow to the left of our lines. And again, just hit escape. I'm sorry, hit colon and enter. Now you have your lines here. So let's say that we wanted to actually go to a specific number, and that would be G. Actually, it's the number first. So let's say we want to go to line 6. So it would be 6, capital G. And that brings you your cursor right over to line 6. Vice versa, if we wanted to go to line 2 or to line 3, for instance, we would just do 3 and then capital G, and that brings us right over to line 3. Now that said, let's say that we wanted to find text in a document, and what we're going to look for, let's see here in this document, is the only unique word in here, really I think is the word to. So simply, if you typed in ever the / and then the text to find, no spaces, in this case we're going to type in 2, you can see that it jumps right down to the word 2 and highlights it for you. So let's say, for instance, we want to find multiple instances of one word inside the entire document. Now, of course, as we know, configuration files and text files often have the same word multiple times throughout the document, and when you're looking for specific things in a large document, this will help you. So, very simply, let's get out of here. And always you can type escape to get out of any kind of command. And let's go all the way back up to the top here. And I want to find every instance of the word text, since that's in here multiple times. So simply / text, text. And you can see it's highlighted the very first instance of text. Hit enter. Now type the N key, and you can see it brings you to every instance of the word text in the entire document. So that's just kind of like the search option inside of Notepad or any kind of visual text editor. So let's go ahead and talk about finding and replacing a string or a word. So let me go ahead and get out of here. Okay. So let's say we wanted to replace the word text in this very first line, line number 1, with the word apple. Simply what we would do here is we would make sure we're on that line with the cursor, and helpful to be at the beginning of the line, and you type in :s for search / the word that you're looking to replace, in our case text, and / again and the word that you're looking to replace it with, and in our case that would be apple, and then you hit enter. Now you can see that only the word text on the first line was replaced with the word apple. Now let's say we want to replace every single instance of text with the word apple in the entire document. This is not very practical, so take it for what it is. Let's go ahead and get out of here. And let's go up to the very top. And in this case, we're going to use some wildcards. Now type in : and then the %, S again for search, /, and we're going to do the word text, and we want to replace that with apple throughout the whole document, and then do another / and G to make it for global. And global means the entire document. So go ahead and hit enter, and you can see that every word in here that was text is now replaced with apple here and up there. So that's one way to replace words globally. Now, like I said, not very practical. You're not going to always have to do that. But if you were changing IP addresses, for instance, in a document, and it had multiple instances of variables that accepted that IP address, and you had to change that, certainly that would come in handy. Okay, so let's go look at a bigger document that has a little bit more text in there. So we're going to write and quit our document here. And again, that's :W Q, all lowercase, no spaces, and hit enter. That saves the document and quits that document and brings you back to your terminal. Now that we're in our terminal here, let's just go ahead and ls, and I have a document here called Kali.txt, and it's just some text that I copied off of the Kali Linux website. So again, we're going to open it up with VI, so VI Kali.txt, and hit enter. Now you can see here there's like 3 smaller paragraphs, and I'm going to show you some shortcuts on how to search around a document, or move around a document, I should say. So the very first thing we want to do here is make sure we're at our first line, and I'm going to show you how to move word by word throughout a document. Simply, that is the letter W, and you can see the cursor moving word by word from left to right. Now if we wanted to go back one word, we can do the B key, which is back, and that goes word by word back. So let's say I want to go to the very end of a line, and in this paragraph here, what you have to understand about VI is that there is no like word wrap, right? So it's just whatever you type is one paragraph. It's not like individual sentences that you can't, you know what I mean? Like you can't really skip around that way. So it's a little bit of a limitation there, and that's why we have these shortcuts. So let's go to the very end of this line, starting from left to right. And simply that is the $, and that brings you, as you can see here by the cursor, to the very end of the document. Now, Let's say that we want to go back to the beginning of the line. That would be 0. And 0, it's a little confusing, but you'll get used to it. And again, the cheat sheet will be below this video, so download that and make sure you keep a copy for yourself. Now 0 will bring you back to the very beginning of that line. So the only way to get to the end of the line, it used to be like you can't really arrow down and then go with the back arrow back up, because I'm typing my back arrow here. You can probably hear me pounding the keyboard. It doesn't work that way. You can use the up-down arrows to get to, new paragraphs, but you can't do it the other way. So that's why it's helpful to have the $ and the number 0 to go back and forth. So let's go ahead and talk about going to the top of a document. And this is very good. So if you're editing something at the very bottom and you want to go all the way back to the top to make sure of some configuration or something, very simply, you do capital H to go to the top. So you saw that our cursor went from the bottom here all the way back up to the top. Now watch, I'll do it again. It's capital H, and now the cursor is at the very beginning of the top of the document. Now let's say you want to go to the middle of the document. That would be capital M for middle, pretty straightforward, right? And let's say we were going to go back to the very top here, and we wanted to go to the very end of the document because we've been in this document before. We know the configuration that we're looking to change or edit or whatever is at the very bottom, and it's a very long document. Of course, you can always use your page down and page up keys, but some smaller Apple keyboards and stuff like that don't actually have page up, page down keys. So what we could do here is capital L, and that'll bring you to the very end of the actual document itself. So now that said, that's pretty much everything you're going to need to know to work with VI. So we went over creating a new document and editing documents. We talked about writing your changes to the documents, whether you created it and or you actually are editing it, and that's the :W, lowercase w, no spaces. The :Q is to quit the actual document. Now, you can't quit a document if you haven't saved its changes, and I'm going to give you a little for instance here. So let's say I want to insert some information here, and I'm just going to type in some words, test, red tree, or something. Doesn't make sense, but I'm going to escape to get out of insert mode, and let's say I went to :Q to quit. It's going to give you an error at the bottom. No write since last change. Add a exclamation point to override that. So let's say, for instance, you didn't mean to make a change. You can certainly go ahead and type in :Q and the exclamation point, and it'll actually return the document to before whatever you edited. So if you haven't saved it, it'll return it to right before you made any changes. So in our case, if we went to VI Kali again, you can see here that our last lines that we entered in are not there. So let me go ahead and do this again here, and I'm going to go to insert mode, and I'm going to type in test red tree again, and I will escape to get out of the edit mode or the insert mode. And then if I went to write, I could write, and then I can go to quit. And if we VI'd again, you can see our line is there. So always keep an eye out for that. And that's a simple way to get out of a document without going, oh no, I made some changes. I'm not sure what I made some changes. I need to start over. It's unless you saved it, you can do the :Q and the exclamation point, and it'll bring you right back to before you made any changes, like when you first opened the document or the last time you saved changes. That said, so moving down, we used our arrow keys to go up and down, and we talked about the page up and page down keys on most keyboards except for the smaller Apple keyboards. We talked about moving words back and forward, W for forward, lowercase w, and B for back. That goes word for word, forward and backwards. We talked about using the money sign or the $ to go to the end of the current line, and the 0 key to go to the beginning of the line. We talked about the capital H, M, and L, and down the list there it's capital H to go to the top of the document, capital M to go to the absolute middle of the document, and capital L to go to the lower set of the document. And then we also talked about setting line numbers, which makes it easy for debugging purposes. Again, if you were editing a configuration file or some sort of code, you compiled it and fired it, and it says, hey, you got a syntax error on line 27. Simply, you can do : set number, to enable numbers in there. And then if you wanted to go to that specific number, you can also do the number and the G, and no spaces between the number and the G. So for in our case would be line 27 had a syntax error. It would be 27 and G. Then we also talked about finding text in a document and finding multiple instances of that text in a document with the /text and the text defined, of course, in our case was text. And we found the very first instance of that. And then if you back out of that by hitting the enter key or the colon key, the enter key, you can actually type the N key and then find every instance thereafter, the very first instance. And then we talked about text, finding the text and replacing it, just one word of text. And then we talked about replacing all of the words of text that matched that regex throughout the entire document using the $%s followed by the regex that you wanted to replace, and then the word you wanted to replace it with, and that would replace everything globally throughout the whole entire document based upon that command execution. So that pretty much wraps it up for using VI in a very basic sense. Again, it's completely up to you on what you want to use as you are editing documents and things like that. For me, and being a pen tester for a long time, VI just tends to save me more time. Of course, it'll be independent based upon your needs yourself, so keep that in mind as well. And if you're just taking this course by itself, thank you for taking the course. I do appreciate it. You should definitely check out some of our other courses, if not a membership. Memberships also allow you to get all of our courses for one low monthly fee, including one-on-one support directly with me and a bunch of other benefits. Head on over to the memberships link on the homepage, pentesteruniversity.org, and check that out. For our existing members that got this course for free, thank you so much for being a member. I do appreciate it, and thank you for your continued loyalty and support. I will see you next time.